Good morning, my babushkas, manushkas, Mickey Mouses. If my audio sounds different, it is because I do not know what filters I had on my other accounts. So we're kind of just guessing here. But oh, I fucked up. Hold on. I'm here. Don't worry, babies. What's scuff? What is scuff? Who has scuff? Not me. Me with scuff? Could never be me with scuff. I would never have scuff on my stream. Oh shit, I fucked something up. Yeah. Oh wait, the game capture is so loud. I'm so sorry. Hold on. I forgot to turn it down. Turn that the fuck down. Alerts, turn them the fuck down. Okay. We're doing so great right now. We're doing so great right now. But what a hear right now. We're gonna watch some videos because I have to learn how to do something. I'm gonna bite my duo. How are you, Mel? Did you miss me? In the, what, 12 hours? That you haven't seen me? I'd miss me. And again, Mel hates me, so... You miss my stream? What do you mean you miss my stream? Oh, but nothing happened that stream because I was at work. This is the actual stream. That was my test stream. I can stream on that account at work. I found out. But I just realized my character just like stares. My character just stares into your soul. And that's okay. I can live with that. Now, earlier I was what was I doing? Earlier stream I was setting things up. So you can sort of see I have this list here. So I finished my tutorial, my last tutorial for hopefully a little while, where I was learning what level design was. So that's sort of gonna be some of the focus for today. I need to set up a couple things. I didn't think this through, obviously, because I never think anything through. But I was planning out the prototype and like I was making sketches for how I wanted the level to look out, and I decided what the levels even will be for the prototype because I want to prototype multiple levels. Because I want this to be sort of like a horizontal slice for the game. Where it's a little bit of everything. And then this prototype will be, I call it the main prototype, because I'm going to prototype multiple systems within it. That's why it's a horizontal slice. And sort of see how they all interact. I was also thinking, since I'll be using, I of course will be using placeholder assets, but as I'm slowly learning to draw and Blender, I was thinking, and maybe this is being extra and doing way too much for prototyping, but oh well. I was thinking I could use the tutorials and this prototype as an opportunity to like get what we'll call the first variations of the designs and everything. So, and sort of like my first attempt, yeah, we're gonna build, they won't be placeholder assets, they'll be the version 1 assets. And then the story for this, because there will be a story for the prototype, the story will actually be a prequel to the bigger game. So I was thinking this could be a nice first step for everything. So I came up with like a mini story. It's way shorter, obviously, than the actual game will be. Um, but yeah, I was taking a lot of notes while I was at work. So we'll implement that. But let me first. I've been looking at other people doing in the software and game development category. So yeah, probably double stream through this, or not double streams going forward. I'll try to stream on this at my PC as much as I can. But yeah, I'll do planning while at work and then but we'll see. But this will be an actual devlog that we put on YouTube and everything, to sort of document the process. So hopefully that sounds interesting, intriguing, all that good stuff. Now we need to plan. The prototype's called Reclusive Witch, is what it's called. Okay, let me see. And then we'll also probably do some Odin project later. I should probably have added that to the thing, but it's fine. All right. Now first I have to set up okay. I have to set up dialogic in Godot, which I hope I've been saying Godot correctly. But while we do that, we'll watch Nee's video. Dialogic is fun. Yeah, we're gonna use Dialogic and Arrow. So I was gonna use Twine, and then I found out that those integrate directly with Godot, so I was like, okay, probably better. That's what we're gonna do. That's what we're gonna do. So, oh, I am sharing this. Okay. Put this over here.
Level design is easily one of the hardest aspects of making a game. Coming up with fun mechanics is one thing, but making a fun level that utilizes all those mechanics is more challenging than you might think.
I hope the volume levels are fine. Just let me know, because we have to reset all the volume levels.
Change the way I make games. So today I'm going to tell you about my 5 core principles of level design that appear in all kinds of games. I guarantee that following these 5 principles will lead you to making great level designs in no time. If you learned something new in this video that helps you with designing your own games, consider subscribing to my channel for new game design videos every week. Alright, let's get started. For the first principle, let's talk about having a clear goal. Now, this might seem obvious at first glance, but it's actually something I think a lot of modern games get wrong. A clear goal is something for a player to always have in the back of their mind while playing through a level. At the end of the day, reaching that goal is the driving force that keeps the player engaged. So you want to make it as obvious as you can.
Actually, the level might be different than what I was planning.
In the context of a game like Dark Souls, for example, the goal is to reach the next bonfire. It's a very clear visual cue to let the players know that they can finally relax again. Dark Souls actually has a few of these level design
it's on Steam now.
that quickly tell you what you're supposed to be searching for. A wall of fog tells you you've reached a boss of a dungeon and you need to prepare for a challenging fight. A hanging ladder means you might have a new shortcut you can use later. A clear goal can also be a cutscene for a story-driven game or a new upgrade for Metroidvanias. Think of dungeons from classic Zelda games. Most of the time, the door to the boss is right at the start of the temple, so even though there's going to be a long journey to find the boss key, you always have a clear image of where you want to get back to. But like I said before, finding a clear goal is something I think a lot of modern games get wrong. How many times have you played a game over the past couple years and asked yourself, what's the point of doing any of this? What am I working towards? Well, that leads us to the part 2 of having a clear goal. You have to properly reward the player for reaching it. Sometimes finding the shiny finish line isn't enough. You need to incentivize your goals a bit more. Our mission as game developers, first and foremost, is to evoke an emotion for our players. What's the emotion a player feels when they see a bonfire in Dark Souls or a bench in Hollow Knight? By design, it's a feeling of relief, a reward for risking a dangerous journey with a moment of peace. Not only did you survive the challenge to get here, but you also now get all of your health back and a chance to level up. So my advice for the easiest way to set a strong goal for your level design is to 1, make it as obvious as you possibly can, and 2, make the goal worthy of being a goal. Regardless of what kind of game you're making, having a clear goal that the player can visualize in their head can be reason enough to keep playing your game, but properly rewarding your player for reaching that goal is just as important. I mentioned this in my gameplay loop video a while ago, but if the player always has a goal to strive towards, a clear picture in their head of where they need to go next, there's a lot more of a chance of them seeing it through. Principle number 2, keep it fresh. Designing one level is easy enough, but giving each level their own identity and keeping the player excited to try new levels is the real challenge. If you look at a game like Super Mario, what's the main driving factor for the player? Throughout the game, there aren't any major upgrades or changes to the core mechanics, so how can we keep the game from getting stale? Well, that's where keeping things fresh comes into play. If every level has the same arts, the same challenges, or the same enemies, it's easy for a game to start feeling repetitive and even boring. Portal is another game that I think is a masterclass in level design. You unlock all the main abilities very early on in the game, but these abilities are so dynamic that you can use them in so many different scenarios. You start with a few tutorial-like puzzles where you learn some of the game's mechanics like momentum jumping or sneaking up on enemies, but later down the line, a level will mix these two concepts together to make something that feels completely fresh. So how can we do this for our own level designs? Obviously, not every game can have groundbreaking mechanics like the portal guns, but that doesn't mean we can't use these lessons in our own game. I think the reason that Portal works so well is that it keeps its cards close for a very long time. Instead of throwing all these puzzle ideas into the early levels, there's a slow progression to get there. When a new concept is introduced, like momentum jumping, it's only shown in the most bare bones way. Then you add something slightly different. You find out that other objects can be thrown with momentum. In the next level, you add timing with moving platforms. Then you combine objects with the timing. The best way to keep your games feeling fresh is to introduce each new concept a little at a time, and then combine them into something new. Instead of showing your hand right away, flip each card one by one to slowly reveal the bigger picture. By doing this, not only are you left with plenty of room for more unique levels, but the player will never get bored knowing that each level could be a brand new experience. Another game that does this really well is Celeste. Each level focuses on one new unique mechanic and slowly builds them to be more complicated. Think of the start of each level as basically a reset on what the player knows about the game and slowly introduce something new to mix things up. The third principle of level design is don't waste space. Believe it or not, this is unfortunately very easy to fall into. I find myself doing it when designing levels all the time. The idea that bigger means better is just not true. Don't waste yours or the player's time with useless space. Whether you're making a small platformer or an open world RPG, it's tempting to make these big open areas that really have no reason to be there. It's a complaint I have with a lot of games. Why build a mountain if there's nothing on it? Why make a castle if there's no treasure inside? Let's use an example. What's the purpose of a village in an RPG? Well, its primary function is to restock on items, maybe sell some stuff, or stay at an inn. Let's start here. If a player wants to quickly buy some supplies, heal their party, and relieve their carrying weights, don't make them run back and forth just to do all that. Put it all in one place, and I promise they will thank you. If you're worried that having things so close together will make the scope of your game feel smaller, Just look at the way real-life cities are designed. Among the thousands of streets in a city, there's usually one central market area that has everything you need. The only annoying part of the process is the walk to get there, so don't bore your players with unnecessary areas. Now don't freak out on me, but I've got a bone to pick with one of my favorite games of all time. Stardew Valley is great, and for the most part, I think the level design is really good. But there's this one stretch of land between your farm and the town that is just a drag to walk through. Sure, it's for the bus stop, but why does it need to be here? If I want to go grab some new seeds to plant, I don't want to spend an in-game half hour just to get there. Time is money, man. I want to be up at the caves by 3, and I've got to get back for my date with Penny at 6. So the moral of the story, don't make a player walk back and forth through nothingness. That isn't to say that all empty areas are a bad thing, though.
Oh, I see
In
what I did
Undertale,
wrong.
there's plenty of places where it's just a long stretch of walking, and it's actually used as a way to give the player a moment to reflect on the story. But again, that still gives it a purpose. If you do end up making areas of your game that feel like they don't quite have a purpose, your game might look more professional if you just trim things down a bit. The fourth principle of level design is following the flow. Here's an interesting piece of level design psychology. Have you ever noticed how most games seem to flow towards the right? It might sound crazy, but ever since early platformers like Super Mario were released, players became naturally inclined to move towards the right first. To Stardew Valley's credit, every morning you start on your farm and then walk towards the right side of the screen to visit the town. In Skyrim, as soon as you leave Helgen right after the dragon attack, you follow the path to the right to reach Riverwood. Some platformers even turn this concept on its head by hiding secrets on the left side of the screen. It's not like using this method can save you from poor level design, but if you ever want to guide your player towards one point of interest, try putting it on the right side, see what happens. But that's just one small piece of the puzzle. There's still hundreds of ways you can guide a player using psychology. For some reason, a lot of AAA games have defaulted to just throwing a bunch of points of interest on the map, and honestly, that ruins the fun of exploring things for yourself. There's nothing I hate more than when I'm looking more at a minimap than the game itself. It's a really tough problem to solve because obviously the developer wants to show the player where to find all the cool things they made, but at the same time, is it really worth overcrowding your players with an overwhelming amount of waypoints? On the flip side, having no waypoints might feel cleaner and more immersive, but that's at the risk of the players missing content completely. Here's the thing, if you want to turn your game into a unique experience for the player, you have to accept that players are going to miss things, and that's okay. In fact, it's all the more reason for them to want to explore your world, and even adds replay.
So fun fact, I'm a dum-dum.
I recently played Dragon's Dogma 2, and while I do have some gripes with the game, I think the level design is really impressive. It's super rare to find a game that's so unapologetically okay with players missing out on content. If you pick up a new quest, instead of following a map marker, you actually need to listen to NPCs and find out more information. Making your way to each location actually feels like a puzzle in itself while you search for important landmarks and clues. You'll feel much more inclined to explore if your hand isn't being held the whole time. With that being said, there's also nothing wrong with slightly nudging the player in the right direction. It's easy to get lost playing Hollow Knight, but if you listen hard enough for audio clues, you might just hear humming from a nearby map maker. In Crosscode, each new zone is a tangled web of paths, but you probably didn't even realize that all these levels are carefully laid out and funneling you towards the exit. It's okay to lead a player in the right direction, you just gotta be a secret tour guide. If you give your levels a natural flow, players will probably follow it. And finally, the fifth principle of great level design, your game is a language. Every principle before this is important in its own way, but understanding the language of your game is by far the most essential way to design levels well. The truth is, level design is just another layer on the onion that is your game. You can have great looking art, a beautifully crafted story, fun mechanics, but the only way to make any of this matter is to find the synergy that brings all these elements together. Together, these components create the language of your game, a palette for which the player and the developer can both understand and feel confident in. I'll give you an example from my own experience. When I started building levels for my speedrunning platformer game Rem Runners, the levels were okay, but it definitely felt like something was missing. My original vision for the game was to be fast-paced, challenging, and satisfying, but the levels I made were really drawn out and confusing. To be honest, I was kind of just making things up as I went without any strong understanding of what I wanted out of the game. I was designing levels in a
Oh,
way that I've seen work in other
no,
games,
we'll use
but not
dialogic
levels that
directly
were
in.
suited to my own game. That's why understanding the language of your game is so important. If you're trying to make a fast-paced platformer with an emphasis on speedrunning, the levels need to reflect that. Don't use your level designs to pad for time or add meaningless content. Use them to heighten your original vision. A game like Vampire Survivors wouldn't work if there were a ton of obstacles and exploration.
We
It's a
don't need
big
arrow
open space
now.
to make you feel like an unstoppable force. In Limbo, there aren't speed
What'd I say we're
boosts
doing
or
today?
platforming challenges. It's a game
Planning
that's supposed
prototypes,
to make
learning
you
level
feel
design.
small and
maybe some-
helpless. When designing levels, you have to have a strong understanding of
I'm
what you're
cold.
trying
Let me
to
go
say
grab
with your
something
game,
and then
instead of just following what has worked
I'm trying
in
to
the
figure out how to
past.
show
And
what
well,
I'm
guys,
doing.
that makes up my 5 principles of level design.
Can I figure out how to show what I'm doing? I did do more brainstorming sketches, but that's kind of for the full game. Prototype. So, we might do some sketching. I might do more sketching today. I didn't think this through. I was a little bit of a dummy. Ow. Yeah. I'm comfy. Okay. Playlist. There. Okay, I'm not sure what you guys might be interested in. Like, should I just show my actual process or or me struggling through the process, I should say. Oh, I do have some. I need to pick which, if any. No, I need to pick which one or ones of show both. I don't even remember what I said. We are gonna do Blender today. Like how Marshall just smacks Hammer. I do have Marshall off on my other screen. Actually, I'll put him where my Discord is. And then I'll switch to my side account so that I can get these notifications on my phone. And put this. See. Enable share. Yeah. Yeah, Marshall is better than me. But yeah, I have a ton of different Blender tutorials. So we have like the regular like intro tutorials, the basics. We have a pancake. Bro, me and this pancake have beef. Some cute ones, a candle flame, Hollow Knight, beginner track, creating stylized low poly characters, getting a 3D character, sculpting, and then we go into animation a little bit. And then back to characters, and then that's a secret. Oh, this is a 20-hour masterclass. We'll save that. But that's for a secret down there. But yeah. Okay. Okay, I'm trying to figure out what to show. Do I just show? I'm just gonna share my desktop. Fuck it. Fuck it, we ball. We ball. Okay. Here we go. Let me just do this real quick before I forget. I'm just gonna set this up on my Stream Deck. Create a folder. Dev trim. And then we'll do OS, source visibility, scene, source display capture. Like the only thing I care about right now is to hide this when I need to. Okay. So I was just looking through this. And then we're in prototyping phase. So under oh. So we're going to do reclusive, which is, and I guess I'll just copy my notes I have. What I'll do. Hello, kitty. How are you? I guess this is what we'll do. Look at my notes. Yeah, Marshall, let's wing it. Wait, I should probably mute him. Oh, you love my model? Thank you. I just recently got this one. What's this? This is a coffee from yesterday. I can drink that. But thank you. I am also doing well. I just got off work a bit ago. So we're kind of dead, but it's okay. We're working on some things, which is always fun. My family's going out to brunch, and I was not invited to brunch because it's a mother-daughter brunch. Mother-daughter being my grandmother, my mother. But I didn't get to be invited. Let's see. Ignore that there's one called Programmer Era. Where? Here it is. Actually, Mel, have you ever seen the stuff on my boards for the game? The main game? So neat and tidy? Yeah, I'm very organized. Or I try to be very organized. Okay, so let me hide this. We'll just do main. Okay. This full screen. Apparently mine's a mess. Yeah, it's my product manager brain. Needs everything be a certain way. Are you making a game? Oh, you mean your Pinterest? No, I've very much organized my Pinterest. The way that's my personal Pinterest now too. Alright, so this is the main prototype. And then side note was that the prequel to the main game be fair, mine is almost a decade old. We're showing our ages. I don't know how old my other one is, but this one's only like a year or two old. Alright, so we have the concept down. Rough. Scope. Is that there will be no combat or combat adjacent abilities. There'll be, I said levels, but I don't think there'll be levels. There'll be seven settings. One. Don't worry, eyes went blind too. What the flip? Hold on. I need to add this to my. Holy, that just made me blind. That just made me extra blind. Ah, yeah. Hide this so it doesn't dox me. I try to figure this out. Shh. This settings. Didn't know there was a freaking keyboard shortcut to blinding us all. Maybe I'll just make a new one squeaky clean. Yeah, I made one for learning to draw, and then it just became my main thing of everything. Oh, I meant to do. Okay. Let's see. 7 settings, 1 level? We'll do 1 to 2 levels. Because I'm going off of one of my main inspirations is Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess for this game. So I want to sort of copy how they do level design. Because yeah, they have dungeons. So that's why I say 1 to 2 levels. But we'll see. Alright. So we have the homestead, which will be the central hub. The south, east, north, and west. That's how you spell north. North, west. Yeah. Western woods. The temple, which is low-key the dungeon boss. I just said we're not doing combat, so I don't know what it'll be. There'll be 1 main quest. I had steps and tasks, but I don't know how long it'll be. 1 main quest line, I'll say. And then we'll have 3 to 4 side quests. I might expand that, we'll see. A nice to have would be 3 requests. I'd have to figure out the mail system for that. Skill trees for herbalism, persuasion, survival, medicine, crafting. I might change the name for persuasion. I'll make a note for. Actually, we'll change this to charisma. You know, like how in this is low-key resembling D&D. By changing that to charisma. Because the rest of these are all also D&D skills and stuff, but if the shoe fits. Okay. For skill trees, we have only 1 special ability. That'll be in this prototype, which is the most important one, which is the Seeker ability. Um, I want to have save files and loading. Well, save files. I want to have save files. And I want to try to include quick save, autosave, and having checkpoints. But that one, the checkpoint one, we'll see. I might eventually add a combat system. Since I'm adding all these other systems, this might eventually have the combat system. There's a reason I separated them into like 4, and it's because I saw how the development of Journey went. But we'll see. I'm not a Journey level, so let's just do what works. We'll see. For now, for version 1, this will have just this. Oh, that's my mouse. My other mouse. Just trying to format this so it doesn't roll over. Chill. Chill. There you go. Yeah, that works. Alright. I want to be make sure I'm conscious of the best POV dash camera positioning, as I know that's a big thing people complain about. There will be petable animals even in the prototype. Like I said, this is really a horizontal slice, but we ignore that. I want to figure out how to do environmental storytelling. Whether we show the state of the world. Player character background. What was the other one? Descriptions in inventory. Like in Elden Ring, etc. Basic movement for now. I'm debating on adding a parkour. Oh wait, Mel, did I ever tell you about what I meant by the parkour ability? Like what's inspired it? It's a big thing that would definitely be way more than I need, especially my first ever game. But it's something I definitely want to try to include in the bigger game if I can't in chapter 1. I love environmental storytelling games. Yeah, this is my game. This is my first ever game I'm developing, but I really like games with a deep narrative, and especially Mass Effect and Dragon Age and all that, and how they had the codex as well. I'm slowly but surely working on world building to make it possible to have something like that in the full game. It'll take a while to get enough information to that, but if I can test out a little bit of environmental storytelling in the prototype, that'd be perfect. Some basic movement, no parkour. Yeah, so like I said, prototypes of all all assets. Where it's the player character, NPCs, UI, UX, etc. I'll make sure I have customizable and accessible settings. And the earlier I implement that, the easier it'll be later. We'll have 4+ named NPCs. 4 will have designs. And the others can be mentioned in letters. And then the final thing, which is a stretch goal, is to have dialogue boxes and sounds inspired by Legend of Zelda: Twilight Princess. Yeah, that's the rough scope of the prototyping. I'll show you what I mean by the parkour. I realize not everyone knows this game. It's from the game Forspoken. It's one of my favorite. I don't know if it's yeah, it's one of my favorite systems I've ever seen in a game. And I remember when I first saw it, I was like, oh my god, I need to include that. So I'll show you. It is something I want to learn to do. It's crazy. Oh, mini screen. There you go. Oh, that's loudish. Holy fuck. So Forspoken is one of my favorite games ever. Make this bigger. You can sort of see it. Let me see. There you go, actual quality. So you see it's magical parkour. And it's very intuitive if you use a controller. Now, I won't be having all that. I like the running. Forspoken was my favorite game. Yeah. I haven't finished it yet, but it's definitely one of my favorite games. Dishonored is my favorite. Dishonored and Twilight Princess are my favorite games, but this is like top 5. Just for this system alone was my favorite thing to do. I haven't even gotten this far to unlock the water though. So we'll see. Well, actually Dragon... Okay, this is my top 10 favorite games. Well, okay. I've never finished... Hold on. So I've never finished the game, so I can't comment on the story. People critiqued the voice acting, but I think the problem was, in my opinion, everyone's used to like very proper sounding voice acting. Versus, and I replayed this, and I think I said this last time I streamed it on my main account. For those who don't know, I have a main streaming account where I play games. What was it? I think it's just too realistic. Of it. She was like, wow, that's fucking cool. She's like, she like had a reaction when she had power. She's like, wow, I just did that with my hands. What the fuck? Like she did stuff like that. It was like a little too modern, I think. Because this is someone from present day transported into a magical world. I think she was very realistic for how she acted. But I don't know. I'm a very amateur voice actor, so maybe, you know, I'm wrong. But like I said, the free roam gameplay with magic parkour. Yeah, she was from a completely different world. Like she's from New York. I think she spoke like how a New Yorker would speak. Yeah. She spoke how a New Yorker who got transported to another world. It's also, for context, because this isn't even a spoiler, she didn't even mean to... Okay, for context, the way the game starts is she's homeless, living in a crate, barely got off from a judge for the holidays. It's her birthday. Her crate then gets basically burned down because she was in an abandoned apartment building. It gets burned down and her cat she adopted almost died. Girlie was about to commit suicide, and then she gets transported to a magical world. I think the way she acted with that... People just like to take that out of context. I think with the context, I think she acted completely normally. I don't know. Maybe I'm a little too defensive on it because, like I said, this is in my top 10 favorite games. But I was like, every time I'm like, what the heck? I was like, it was a pretty realistic reaction, I think, for everything that had happened up to that point. Because that's like the first 15 minutes of the game. Oh, and she has a talking piece of jewelry. I think she was pretty realistic. But yeah, the parkour was very cool to me. The combat's also cool. See, lines like that, I'll take. The voice acting sometimes but like the dialogue itself and the story was actually very good. As far as I am in it right now. I've been considering revisiting it, but yeah. Basically, I was just here to show the parkour. That's like one of my favorite systems in a game, but yeah, my favorite game is still Dishonored, chat. Don't worry. Dishonored will never be left. Will never be taken away from being my favorite game. Yeah. But yeah, that is like a dream thing if I could implement, would be that sort of parkour system. Unfortunately, however, I am but a little guy who is very I I appreciate the faith, Python, and I appreciate the faith, Melzy. Unfortunately, if you guys saw how I should give myself credit. I should give myself credit where I'm fresh off a very long shift and I had a lot happen during my shift that was very traumatizing. But I did have a traumatizing shift today. This was one of my traumatizing days. But the way I struggled implementing dialogic just now to set it up in Godot took me a little second. It took me a little second. Movement systems are very iterative. Yeah, that's the thing I'm gonna focus on with this project, especially. I'm so used to doing everything all at once that I'm gonna try to be very iterative with it, which you sort of see from these when I list out these systems I'll be prototyping. We're gonna do movement, but it's gonna be basic movement, very basic movement, because the other thing that I'll be doing is another another game that inspired this is Journey.
All right.
So Dialogic mentioned the big 2026. I just discovered it. If you had to look at my Discord, I recommend for issue tracking like that. Oh yeah, I need to look at it. It was so bad yesterday. It was so bad last night. Letting yourself and try to break them down to little things. Dialogic. Yeah, it was recommended to me, so yeah, Dialogic. But when I was doing all those tutorials, I know one of the things they talked about was the game or maybe it was a video we watched. It talked about the flow of the game, and one of those being like how your character flows. And I really like the light, airy movement in the beginning of Journey, which I think would translate well if I can figure out what I want exactly for the movement. I might have to do more sketching to figure out how I want it to look. But I really like the airy movement, and especially for when we get into like the full game, with the way that some of it will be laid out with the different biomes. I think there'll be different movement available, but I haven't decided yet. We will see though. Also, welcome Ragladel. Don't pursue me right now. I am struggling. But yeah, we'll be doing basic movement to start off. Dreaming also like underwater and land. Yeah. And then I especially liked how I mentioned my game has different, well, my full game will have different biomes. When you get towards the end of Journey and you're in the Arctic, how it's tougher and tougher to move, and you get that. Yeah, it's dialogic too now. Yeah. That's why I was struggling to do that. It was harder and harder to move the character. So that's something I really want to emphasize a lot. I know that's something I definitely want to hone in on my game design, is the movement of the character. I think it will add to the narrative for certain points. But yes, we're gonna have an inventory system. We're gonna have a very bare bones crafting system. I probably should put this in my original notes, but it's gonna be very bare bones crafting system. Dialogue system. We're gonna have a journal. I haven't figured out exactly how I want the journal to look. We'll figure that out eventually. An exploration system. Exploration system is very loose concept of it. It sort of has to go with the seeker ability. But I think I've gone over, well, I haven't gone over it since I started streaming on this channel, which I just started streaming on this channel today. But I think I've gone over my other channel when I was planning everything, or started to plan everything. I have like a full document somewhere. Somewhere. There's a document somewhere. Cause yeah, this is the world building I was supposed to do. I think animations are perfectly feasible in 2026. Yeah, it's just I'm starting from the beginning. Which, funny you say animations. It was a Reddit post that made me even decide to pick Godot. Because I saw maybe not animation. Yeah, animation might be the wrong word. Should have picked Unity. Listen, they convinced me, and it was just a shader thing, and I was like, you know what, you won me. Well, I already had friends also recommending Godot, but we'll see. All right, for the fact of my chat on my main channel, there will be fishing. I don't know how there will be fishing. I don't know where they'll be fishing. This will be a side quest. This will be like a little mini break. Is it okay to ask? I have to type it in chat. Game of the year. Dictionaries and resources are looming. I'm scared. Trust me, I'm very scaredy cat. This will not be game of the year. This isn't even coming out this year. Don't even. It's too. I don't know when this will come out, but we're only doing the first section of the game. Let's see. My other channel. You'll be okay. Will I be okay? Fishing crazy easy. We'll see. Let's see. My main channel. I probably should link it since I'm gonna refer to it a lot because I'm not used to streaming here. I made this channel because I like to separate my. I freaking click on my stream manager. Guess who I see in the recent requests, Mel? It was your Angie sticker. I forget what for. You sent an Angie sticker. Seem very organized. I am. I like to have my content niches separated, especially since I'll be doing dev streams in the morning. Potentially every day. I would hope. I work overnights, so it's easier for me to stream in the morning. And I don't usually play games that often anymore right now, so this is kind of my main thing. Yeah, gotta be organized. Like I said, I did used to do PM work. So I kind of, some things just never change. But yes, that is my main channel. I am a VTuber. Chalking. Oh wait, this is literally VTubing. I forgot about this design. But yes, we'll have a save load system. There will be a progression system. I haven't decided how well, I did decide how the progression system will work. There'll be a clock and calendar, and I'm limiting the time frame to, well, actually I can't limit the time frame. What if it takes longer? Okay, well, there'll be a clock calendar system. Maybe. This one is a maybe. I haven't decided yet. Weather, but really only rain will work in this terrain. Quest system. There'll be a request dash mailing system. The one thing that's sort of unique to my game, I'll have to figure out that I won't be able to tutorial as much, is something I'm creating that's specific to my game called the grief system. You saw Persona, so I have to follow. No, it's okay. Don't perceive that. I do need to play Persona again. I probably will, as a nice break from everything. I'll probably replay Dishonored again soon. Save load system how, yeah. Yeah, I was watching this YouTuber called Rui. I always watch her vlogs as inspiration to get myself in a positive mindset. Where what was it? She was struggling with the save load system and she had to switch it a couple times. But yes, there will be this thing called a grief system I'll have. It'll be very simplified though. And then we have the reputation system. So these are the ones I can think of off the top of my... Some of the things that are actually systems that are probably too intuitive for my brain to pick apart. But these are like at least the ones I know of that I'll need to prototype. For this horizontal slice is basically where we're at. Lots of systems. What type of game will it be? Someone is disturbing the peace. What type of game will it be? So it's gonna be... Let me think. I'm trying to think. It's gonna be like a 3D adventure game. So I have it. Yes. So. Haha. That's not real anymore. Oh shit. So yeah, you're basically a lone traveler and you travel to a desolate world to try to save your friend by retrieving this rumored artifact. There's a lot of moving pieces to it, so it'll be a very big game. But since I'm a little guy, let me take this out because this will not be my first game. But since this is not where I'm at. But since I'm a little guy, I'm sticking with just the first area. So this is like will be chapter 1. Have I made a game before? No, that's why I brought the scope down. But the lots of systems will be a challenge. I'll probably get rid of some of them if I can't, but like I don't think I said. I work overnights at a hotel, which means I have nothing to do for 6 hours. Yeah, this is the cut down scope. What was I trying to say? Oh, that's what I was trying to say. I have nothing to do for 6 hours while at work every day. So this is where it led us. But yes, I did cut down the scope. It's just me breaking it down even more. Yeah. So, like I said, some of these are things I just added to add. Let's see. I think the only things that are actually, let's see, these ones obviously need save load. A lot of these are just added to add because I had time. Yeah, that's like 6 hours I have free. So let's see. These ones I need. This I need, and then these two I need. Because yes, I will say, I did get my design document reviewed by someone who has over a decade of experience with game dev, and she helped me narrow down my scope. So while I do say I have these systems in the game, they're not extensive, if that makes sense. Like when I say progression system, for example, it's not gonna be like, oh, you can do 30 levels. It'll be like, for this especially, like 3 levels. It's just like a starting point. These are all just starting points. Some of these are just nice to haves. Like I said, this one I don't even think I'll have. And then rain, I don't even know how I'll implement that. So that's like a maybe. That's a big maybe. The grief system is kind of the core of the game. Will you be making the assets too? Yes, but I also have nothing else to do with my time. Like I said, I have 6 hours of free time every day for work, and then I come here after, and then I stream in the evenings as well. So why not? I'm not really on a schedule to get things done. So you live and learn. If the scope becomes too much, I am not, what's the word? I'm not afraid to cut things out. Do not tire yourself. Pot calling kettle black, Mel. But yes, I do have a lot of time. And I have insomnia, so I barely sleep. So that's like 12 plus hours of time a day that I have. But yeah. Yeah. Shuffle over the last 7 days. Your Waka time? Oh, I can't look that up. I forget what I'm sharing. Oh god. See, I can't set that up. I can't set that up. We don't need to know. We don't need to know. Because I know if I checked how much time I spent prep. Yeah, I figured it was a time tracking app. If I tracked how much time I spent planning in the past week. Well, Mel, we did the 26-hour stream the other day. And that was a lot of planning. Or replanning because I lost everything. But yeah, don't worry. I'm not afraid of scope knife. That's the word. Let me see. Where is it? Yes, here it is. Yeah, I did a 26-hour. Something feels like a friend at this situation. Yeah, coughing baby is a nuclear bomb. Yeah, so let me share my screen again, or make the screen bigger again. Yes, I did get feedback on the game because I wanted, or I knew my scope was too big, but I didn't know what to do to cut it. So this is like I said, this was what it was at first. There was a lot more that I had. So my first big brainstorming session to make it all was a lot. So the scope was a lot worse than it is now. So that's where I got the bare bones version of a crafting system. There's only 4 to 6 NPCs. I don't even think I have an ability tree actually. Oh no, we have the skill tree. And then yeah, prologue, tutorial, and 1 full biome. So that's what we're doing. There's a lot in there, and it's just because I really want to test a ton of things. But the game itself, okay, it won't be that short. But yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fine. Plus, it's content. We ball. We ball. But yes, I did hit us. Alright, scope boundary. Scope knife, yeah. Scope knife, that's where I got the word from. See? You love your background content. Yeah. Because, yeah. I don't expect this to in any way scope kills all my ideas. Yeah. I'm not afraid of knifing when I need to knife, especially since this will be the first one. It's meant to be incomplete. With room for more. What would the skill tree be like? It's honestly not even that much a skill tree. I say skill tree, it's more there will be certain skills I want to try to implement in this version, but it's like up in the air. But I say skill trees. It will literally just be the first level of all these. Like you'll see maybe the icons for further skills, but it will be locked where you can only unlock the first level of all these. So it won't actually be fully, none of this will be fully implemented. The only things that will be fully done for the prototype. And then, like I said, this is more of a horizontal slice, which is what I was recommended to do. Was they said vertical slice. I'm doing a horizontal slice because I heard about it and I think it was a good, I considered it a good starting point. Was that so yeah, we will see. If something isn't working, I'll probably cut it out, but the most important things are just the crafting, inventory movement, grief and reputation systems, and the quests, obviously, and save and load too, and exploration, because there's a story, and the story needs all those things to exist. Especially the grief system I have to figure out. Especially since the grief system is not unique, but unique enough. That's something I really need to shell out because I kind of just glossed over it. But the game, sort of like how Journey follows the hero's journey, this game explores the 7 stages of grief. So I have a book coming in soon to research that more, but yeah. Yeah. I don't know if I properly answered any questions. Yeah, so there's no ability cheat. The only ability like in a that you'd expect in like a skill tree is probably the wrong word. Let me see. Where am I even getting that word from? I'm thinking of, because I was looking at, I found a site that tells you what's it called? The UI for different games. I say skill tree. I was thinking of this. I was looking at the UI because, like I said, Dishonored is one of my favorite games. So I was looking at the UI because I wanted to to see what it looked like. But sort of like how Dishonored has, for example, the actual powers slash abilities and then enhancements, which I just consider skills. There'll only be one of these, and then the tree branches like this. But this is like just tiers. So for the ability tree, it will be like this eye is like the most common one. Or the most similar to the seeker. I think it actually is the same thing. And then yeah, it'll be like an enhancement at the bottom. So nothing too extensive. I do have all the abilities that will be in the game planned out. Because I just went mad one day. But yeah, it's all just up in there. I don't plan. Let's see. They say it takes a game 2 times longer than you expect it'll take. I imagine it'll take 2 times longer. So, and I have no set date that I need this done by, because I have other things I'm working on as well. This is like a nice side venture. I was like, well, if I don't feel like playing games as much, I can just make one, I guess. So that's sort of where we're at. Oh, everyone's replying to my story where I told everyone the traumatic thing that happened. My mom didn't believe me until it's a passion project. Yeah, if I were to launch this, no, how do I phrase this? When I launch, this chapter 1, which isn't even this one, it's somewhere else. Of Exile UI? I don't even know what that is. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna look that up. Chapter 1, like, it's sort of similar the way I'll probably do it. No, that's not the way I'll do it. I'll be releasing it for free. At least the chapter 1 will be released for free. I would not feel comfortable taking money. So yeah, it's a passion project. I have other projects. Most of my projects that I have in mind, most of my programming projects will be just free shit. Just for the love of the game. I like programming. I like writing stories. I like drawing. Put it all together in a game. Bada bing bada booey. That's sort of how we ended up here. What was I going? Oh, Exile UI. Oh, yeah, no. Mine will be a little bit different than that. Yeah. They're all chill things. Yeah. It's probably still, very far-fetched of ideas here. Especially since I'm very lost. But I don't mind. I won't get into, like, the nitty-gritty of why I'm kind of so full of whimsy about it, because it's kind of depressing. But yeah, that's all that planned out. Well, it's not depressing, okay, depressing is the wrong word. It's not, well, some people would find it depressing. But let's see. We got that. Okay, what was I supposed to do next? Oh. Okay, I was copying this. Okay. So then that's all the systems prototypes. Now, would you be interested in joining a game when conditions met and the game is within the theme? I actually have joined because I knew this game, no matter what I do, will take me a while. I actually have joined 3 game jams to start out. I say 3 game jams. That sounds like I joined a lot of ones. They're over the course. They're all separate times. But they're in like 3-month. They're over the course of 3 months. So I didn't actually join some. To force myself to finish a game before I ever finish this game. So yeah. Or did you mean putting this game in at some point? Cause I don't know. I don't know if I want people to perceive this. Low key, not gonna lie, I made this account because I was scared to stream on my main account me making something. So it's like, oh, I'll make a side account and no one will see it. So I wasn't actually expecting all you guys to be here. This was not the plan. I appreciate you guys being here. It's very nice. And I love yapping. But this was not the plan. Haha. Yes, I have a main story in mind for this. How'd it go? Oh, I haven't done it yet. The first one is next month. I think it's next month. I'm pretty sure it's next month. I'm pretty sure. Let me double check which ones I even joined. Yeah. Everyone in this category loves seeing things build. Yeah, I was very scared to stream this category for that reason. But I was like, oh, face your fears. Like, face your fears, you'll be fine. Let's say I joined 2. I joined 3. Oh, I didn't join this one. Alright, the first one is on June 19th. So about like 2 or 3 weeks is the first one. It's Juniper Dev's Game Jam. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, I love build things, especially mini projects that become bigger games. Yeah. And then I did Bracky's Game Jam and then Game Maker's Toolkit Game Jam. Those were the 3 I joined. We'll see if I actually produce anything from them, but if anything, they'll force me to think of ideas. Because I have ideas for much, much smaller games than this one. But this one is near and dear to my heart, so that makes it a passion project. And I work on many things at the same time, so I probably won't only be doing dev stuff on or game dev stuff on here. I'll probably be developing other things too. Mel knows I have a huge list of projects. So this will be my my slow and steady wins the race. Junipers. Yeah, the main story follows a reclusive witch seeking to make a potion that can cure any illness. When she discovers a fallen knight in the woods, who convinces her to use her gifts to help the local village people. Like the biggies, I did not set foot on. You're weird as hell. Honestly, wait, why did I join it? Because I thought the same thing. Why did I join it? I might have just been super out of it that day. Let me double check. I think it said that one. This is the one in July. Actually, that one I'm not even sure if I'll be able to do. Yeah. So I sort of said, face your fears. And then I faced them, apparently. Mel didn't tell me not to do it, so we balled a little bit. We flew a little close to the sun. It's okay. Alright, so why? Oh, that's the wrong one. Why is she reclusive? Trying to cure sick elder sister back home and traveled to find a rumored magical herb. HIO has a lot of smaller jams I try to enter and usually explode from scope creep. I'm naive. I love to do a lot of stuff because I want to. I believe the others do the same. Yeah, I think that's why Mel and I get along so well. There will be a romance subplot because I can't help it. Oh wait, no, there's not. Ooh, it's friendship and comfort with the potential for romance. See, I was so smart. I did that. So to give an idea of how bored I am at work, I think I planned all of this on top of doing an hour-long tutorial I planned all this out and I did sketches. I did brainstorming sketches as well, which are very rough, but that's the whole point of a brainstorming sketch. I did all of this while at work today. So this is just me copying down what I did at work today because I learned my lesson. I learned my lesson of not copying things down. And the player character, young adult, 27. Oh, is that a young adult anymore or is that just an adult? Anyways, used to herself. Very recently came to it. What plan am I using? This is all in Notion. Just to, like a nice little wiki for myself. Why she there. Boys, topics, family, and home life. Ah, I could type. Alright. I was trying to figure out the loops I'd want for my game. Don't know yet. Yeah. We're going to do experience points. Where you gain a skill point every level. And you also gain an ability point every 2 levels. And that's just for the sake of this. Looks like it uses a block system. Yeah, so it uses a block system. Everything's like blocked like this. You can organize it using blocks and stuff. I mean, I'm sure there's ways to make it messy. I don't know how to make things messy when I plan things, to be honest. That's not even a flex. I'm just so used to like making sure everything is as neat as possible because everything else in my life is chaotic. So I've refined my process. Plus I use this for everything. Octave first level. Ability. Locked. Second. Alright, and that's that. Okay, and how do you gain? Oh yeah, because I have looked at Obsidian, but I'm just so used to Notion because I was introduced to Notion first that yeah, yeah. I have Obsidian on my laptop. I think I have it on my PC as well. I've tried to get into it. But I now pay for Notion because I ran out of space because I have so many things. Especially when I have to start doing, well, I do world building. I use World Anvil for my world building, which I have to get back into. But some of that I do in here. The overall leveling, you can do it from certain actions like crafting. Fishing. Exploring. Wrong one. Gathering. I swear this does not make much sense looking at it, but I swear this makes sense. I swear this makes sense. World Anvil gave me PTSD. I loved it so much. It was so organized for me. I apparently bought it last year, so I was like, oh, I should actually probably use this thing I paid for. It makes sense. Okay. Mel, I think you're just telling me that. Okay, that's overall flow. But yeah, this is... I made some loops because I was trying to figure out loops. But I think the loops are messed up, so I don't want to copy the loops. But that's that. It's the one. Oh. The level. My problem is I like referring to... I like referring to what are they called? Games, as I'm trying to figure this out, but my professor shared us her subscription for a world building course and I failed Exteriors Monkey. Oh. Ooh. Oopsie. Yeah. Okay, actually, I think I know how I want to progress and unlock areas. I think I figured that out. I might have figured that out. I might have figured that out. Okay. Quest, unlocking areas. Okay, so then these will be multiple levels. I'm pretty sure I have it listed. Okay. Homestead. And then we have the southern woods, eastern woods, northern woods, western woods, and oh. Wait, did I miss? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. All right, so that's 6 levels. Will they be fast travel or do they do the walkies and righties? That is actually something I had on my list as a nice to have, but I don't think I copied it down. It is somewhere in my list. I think it's in the document itself. I was considering fast travel, but I thought but I was thinking since for the sake we might add it. I'll add it as a nice to have. I'll add it as a nice to have. But I see why it would be helpful here. But the way it's kind of branched out is you can access everything. I haven't decided yet how I want the progression to go, and it will make sense in a moment. Cause I wish there was a way I could draw. Can I draw? No. Let's do it this way. Thanks, Callie, draw my beloved. Oh, I fear I'm gonna disappoint you. Okay, let's just hide these real quick. We need to look at my sketches. Okay. I have it, what's it called? Ignore this. This is where I was doing some stuff earlier. This is where I was doing my brainstorming sketches the other day. The way it's like mapped out in my brain was like this. No, wrong one. I messed it up. I did it and I was like, oh my goodness, it's Sly Cooper. I was like, it's the Sly Cooper. Okay, I actually hate that severely. Hold on. Give me un momento, por favor. This is gonna bother the hell out of me. Yeah. I need to set this up eventually anyways. Have it. Either that or off to the rigging of 4-leg demo, how we go. There are. No, I was gonna do it, but it will make sense in a second. So where did I just put my notebook? But the thing is I was originally gonna have the first place be here. I can't draw for my life. Now see, I was debating on where the final level would be, if it would be here or here. But looking at it now, if I have the final level here and have the hub, which is where you have to go back to interact with the NPCs in the middle, I could just have it access this way. So if it's in the hub, you don't really need a horse or fast travel because you're in the middle. You can go any which way. Which I think might be how I arrange all of my levels, because the home base is supposed to eventually it'll be fast travel, but for now, for the sake of ease, it's going to be located in the middle. Is where I think it'll go. But yeah, this literally looks like the freaking Sly Cooper thing. But yeah, that's like right there I was thinking for it. Because no, I was very much considering the same thing. But I think this is probably, I'll have the hub be in the middle, and then you can access everything. Oh, that looks like that will go somewhere. But yeah. Yeah. Ignore my sketches. We don't talk about those. They're bad. Anyways. Yeah. My bud sketches. Sorry, it made a loud noise in my ear. Holy. But yeah, I think, yeah. Let me mark that up. Thank you for that, because I need to think of that. Voice. Yeah, organize desk. Holy. I was gonna do that today and stream on my main, and then I didn't. Because the reason I don't want to do a four-legged creature yet is because since it will be the shorter version, maybe the longer version, because some of the biomes will definitely, especially the plains, will be definitely probably when you access the plains. Because oh, I don't think I said, so the first biome that this will be in is a forest. And I haven't decided yet how dense the forest will be, but it'll be very adverse to having a four-legged creature. So that's why I was also considering the movement system, and why I didn't want to include parkour, because yes, I could probably do jumping for the parkour system. And going fast that way, but I kind of want the game flow for the beginning biome to be much slower and deliberate. And I know there's people who like to rush through games, but since this is such a narrative heavy game, I have to figure out a balance for all that. I don't want it to be too slow that it's like exhausting and frustrating, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I have a lot of high hopes and expectations for this game, and I really doubt I can execute it as well as I want to. But you don't know till you try. Sure. It'll be a nice little challenge. But yeah, this is everything I did at work earlier in terms of just thinking of things. Well, not everything I did at work, but this is what I did like the last hour of my shift at work. So, yeah. And I also started sketching out level ideas. So we might be able to do that next. We might sketch out, I was sketching out the homestead. So we could probably sketch out homestead and then, well, I did sketch out homestead. So we'll probably sketch out Southern Woods. I actually was considering if there was an interest in speedrunners, I'd probably make a speedrunner mode for them to assist with that. But sort of like how Persona 5, at least I've seen people, they can just skip through the dialogue very quickly and like fast forward through combat and stuff, but there won't be turn-based combat for this, I don't think. So we'll see how that goes. I doubt though. Oh no, I added that. Okay. Oh, my ear. Yeah. So now I'm stuck on if I want to sketch out the levels or if I want to do a Blender tutorial. The problem is you guys will see me crash out if I do a Blender tutorial. That's what I was telling Virtual earlier. I crashed out with Blender so badly. Wait, this got removed. Never mind. Let's delete this. Alright. Can do. Sorry, I'm looking at. I'm just so scared of Blender. I'm a scaredy cat when it comes to Blender and I need to do it. I need to learn it, but I'm such a scaredy cat. I'm a little scared guy. There's a girl. Ayah. No, I've been warned against the donut. Thankfully, I have been warned against the donut. I've been fully by professional 3D people warned against the donut, thankfully. And I say warned against the donut. I tried to do the donut despite their things and I crashed out. So no donut. So we'll probably do these other ones. Yeah, no. One of my friends, her husband does 3D modeling and he was like, don't do the donut. Don't do the donut. Like, Rennie, don't do the donut. They made it as a requirement in your college. Oof. No, thankfully in college I did cybersecurity, so I didn't have to do anything like that, thankfully. But yeah, as you see, there's a lot of world building stuff I have. These are all the characters that'll show up eventually, and then these are all the locations and biomes then. Lots of things. Lots of things. Lots of planning. No execution. Bam, 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 bam. Thinking. Sorry, I'm slowly getting eepy, but it's fine. I'll live. Let's see. I don't think Melzy wants to see that, so we can save that. Let's do this. All right, we're gonna do. All right. Sorry, I'm setting up Clip Studio. I might do some sketching in a second. I'm just gonna find my notes on it. Like I said, I did a tutorial earlier. The dialogic tool will act as a dialog system will be 2.5D-ish since there's character portraits. I haven't decided. I just realized dialogic 2. Oh shit, hold on. We might have to use arrow then. Let me just Google something real quick. I'm pretty sure it can be used. I was planning on it to be 3D. But I'm scared now. I was planning on it being 3D. 3D is possible? Okay, thank God. I just had a heart attack. No, you're fine. I just had a heart attack. Just a mini heart attack. So I was like, oh, please tell me it can actually be used for 3D. Like, please, Lord. But, yeah. Yeah. Ah, I see. We're doing 3D. Close out of this. I haven't fully like looked through Dialogic. It was more I was talking with someone and I was trying to figure out the best thing to use to plan out since it's such a narrative intense game. I was like, I need narrative design tools and I was trying to figure one out and Dialogic 2 got mentioned. I was like, okay, Dialogic 2 it is. Easy decision. What did I say we were gonna do? Oh, we were gonna sketch. Let me pull up my notes. Level design workflow. Get a basic sketch, draw the layout, work on block out. Okay. So we're gonna create basic sketches for all the levels. And then we're gonna draw the layout for the first level. Work on block out, test it out. Alright, we're gonna ball. I tried to make sense of my notes. They're not making sense, so we're just gonna ball. You have to manually install it, it's not on the Godot edge. Look into sub viewports and have it actually so it's doable. Manually install what? The sub view? Or I'm trying to using words I don't know. What are they doing? Thing here. Oh, right. This. Right? I can't type from my. No, do not cut deleter. Sugar honey iced tea. Western Woods. Probably do that when I finish my 12 in total. Do by next month. Please help. Oh my gosh. What kind of projects do you have to do now? You don't mind asking. West. Alright. I'm just. And then. Yeah. That's fine. Where is it? Over here. Alright, that's what we're doing right now. We're making base. Yep. I'm gonna do it this way. This will probably take a few days to do, but or not a few days to do because we're gonna do that straight. I don't know. I don't think it is, but it's fine. I realized what I could do. Let's see. I'm just setting this up real quick. Let me. Okay. All of those were all my major subjects, and 3 of those were multiplayer games on the Unreal Engine, which sucks because I have a potato left, but the rest are on Godot, which mostly 2.5D and 2D games. Overall, it's mostly group work, so I think it should be fine. Thank you. And wants the students to code in Blueprint. Good luck, Charlie. All right. Up and there. Okay, Western Winds. On college, they say. You got that. I'm not jealous because I did my time. Fun part is always the level design and the game design documents. Yeah, those are always fun. Actually, I think. Oh. Okay. My time sounds like a prisoner who served life without parole. Might as well have been. Might as well have been. Alright, I have this all set up now. Alright. Oh, sorry. In case that echoed or anything. Alright. Disclaimer, I'm not an artiste. This will look very rough, very bad. Probably ball, I guess. Now I had a rough outline of how I wanted to block out the homestead. So this one I'm kind of cheating on. And then I'll do brainstorming sketches. I actually want to click, but okay. Alright, so since this is in the middle. Okay, this is further. It shouldn't be the same thing. It's fine. So we're gonna actually just do it. We're gonna cheat. So we have this in the middle. Side. This in the back. This there. And then this, the rough. Oh. Didn't think that through. There you go. I'm gonna do digital Bob Ross today. No. There's no Bob Rossing today. I am too bad to be Bob Ross. I can't even write. Never mind, draw. Okay. Yeah, I'm just doing some rough blockouts for that one. That one's the blockout. The rest are gonna be actual rough sketches. I want to figure out how I want it to look. This would be like a side view, but also if I could have this. Perfect. Yes, I'm doing a rough blockout. So put this here. You're looking from it head on. That's not what it is. Sure. It doesn't need to be perfect. I didn't even remember how to do this. Holy. Yeah. I used to have such a steady hand. What happened to me? Nervous. We have that. Yeah, it has to exist first. And like I said, this is literally just sketches. These are all going to just be sketches to help me brainstorm a bit. Because this one isn't even a level. This is just the hub spot. But I was thinking that could be like... And that's a gate. I swear to God, that's a gate. Doesn't look like one, but it is one. Oh, okay. Okay. So that's that. Draw cool as do. Okay, then we have like a little garden. I swear that's a flower. That's just herb. That's a weird herb. Alright, there you go. That's basically the vibes. Okay, and then we have here is just a mailbox. It'll look like any other mailbox because I am not designing a mailbox, let me tell you right now. That's a mailbox, not a jellyfish. Anyways. Oh no. This is very simple walk up. I know you're about to say jellyfish. See, I'm just such a knower, chat. Such a knower. I'm doing this as childish as possible just to get it down and get it. Why does it look like SpongeBob SquarePance's house? They're making me a little familiar over here. With big ass whiskers, apparently. Ha 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 ha. Alright, there we go. That's the rough idea for that. And then, so... yeah, distance. to still see that view where it's rounded house. That's not how that works. That was a sea urchin. Crazy. No. Maybe. I haven't decided what it is yet. This is a loaf of bread. Obviously. That is also weird structure. Sort of. It's a very bad top view. I'm just trying to figure out, 'cause there's a lot of empty space. I'm sort of just, I don't actually have an idea in my mind. It's just me like putting stuff down. Okay. Maybe we'll have a big circular window at the top. Okay. Alright, and that's like good enough for that because there's not a lot there. But our first level will be the western. That's where I'm lost. Like playing charades too. Crazy work. Alright, this one's gonna be more difficult. So I'll say western, so we're going this way. We're coming in from okay. Oh. The line. So let me see. Look at something. Holy. Alright, let's play this as I do this.
Hello, my name is Nick Alain.
Oh, it's
I'm
so
a game
loud.
designer at that game company, and today I'm going to talk to you all about cognitive maps and how to prevent your players from getting lost in your levels. So as I said, I'm a game designer at that game company, but before I was a game designer, I was actually in architecture. And so a lot of the references and imagery and knowledge that I'll be using in this presentation actually come from the domains of architecture and urban planning. One of my big interests has always been wayfinding and navigation, which is how we get here. So we're going to jump right in, and let's first start by defining what maps are. So firstly, a map is a tool. A map helps you achieve something. Most of the time, it's orienting yourself in relation to other things. A map is made, so I can't go out into nature and find a map just sitting there on the ground. It's either made by me or by somebody else. It represents spaces or concepts. It's pretty self-explanatory. And it's relational. So if I show you a piece of paper and it's got a dot on it, and that dot is labeled Paris, that isn't a map just yet. However, if I show you that same piece of paper with a dot that says Paris and another dot that says Cairo, now we're beginning to form a map, and those two dots can begin to anchor each other in space. Also, a map has edges or limits. Even if it's a globe, which is a map of the entire Earth, you're going to be limited by how much information you can get at particular scales, etc.
What's up, Mel?
There are a couple things maps aren't. So maps aren't, quote, the truth. They are not always orthographic. So that kind of top-down view of something without any perspective that we associate with maps. Maps don't always have to be that. They're not always flat. That Polynesian stick chart that I'm showing on the top right is an example of a kind of three-dimensional, very tactile map that maps ocean swells and islands to help navigators navigate wide expanses of ocean, for example. They're also not always physical, which means that they can take place in our minds, which is, as you guessed, what a cognitive map is, and it's prescriptive. So if I show you a map of a part of the world that you're unfamiliar with and I label something incorrectly, as far as you're concerned, that incorrect label is reality to you. So let's talk about cognitive mapping. This term was originally coined by Edward Tolman in his lab in 1948. So if you've seen imagery of rats in a maze running around trying to get a piece of cheese, this is where it comes from. So the experiment was as follows. They would take a rat and place a rat in the apparatus that you see on the top left, this kind of circular room, and they would hide a piece of cheese where that letter G is located in that yellow diamond. And the rat would eventually find that piece of cheese, and then once consumed, once the cheese was consumed, they would put the rat back in the circle and have the rat do this over and over until it was almost like muscle memory. You know, the rat would go in, it knew exactly what routes to take, and it would get the cheese. Then they would take that same rat and put it in the apparatus that you see in the middle. So it's that same kind of rounded room, but that original pathway was now blocked. The researchers wanted to know, would the rat, once it realizes that path is blocked, have some sort of intuition as to where this piece of cheese was? And if it did, it would probably bias channel 6, which is geographically where you would go if you just wanted to get the cheese. But if it didn't, if the rat didn't have a kind of understanding of what its world was in its own mind, it would just bias all of the paths equally. And as the researchers and Tolman found out, rats did create some sort of mental map of their environment. As you can see on the bar on the right-hand side, that really tall bar is how many times those rats picked Avenue 6. So that is what these cognitive maps are for rats, but of course, we're not rats. We are people. We have our own people brains, and we inhabit non-trivial spaces. We live in cities, suburbs, all kinds of different environments that demand us to use our own cognitive maps on a daily basis. So we can do a little exercise to help you understand what your own cognitive map is like. So take 5 minutes and draw your neighborhood from memory on a piece of paper. Don't look anything up. Just try to let your mind guide your hand, and just spend 5 minutes to do that. So if you want to do that exercise, go ahead and pause the video now. If you've done that exercise, you might have a drawing similar to the illustrations we see here on the top. These illustrations actually came from The Image of the City, which is a book that urbanist Kevin Lynch published. And Kevin Lynch went to a bunch of cities and asked people to do this very same thing. Hey, can you draw me your neighborhoods? And after parsing through all of those different illustrations, he was able to discern 5 elements that people use to make sense of the spaces around them: paths, landmarks, districts, edges, and nodes. The rest of this talk is going to explain each one of these elements in detail and how we can use those to make really strong, cohesive cognitive maps. But of course, this talk is also about not getting lost, so we need to explain what getting lost is. Now that we have a clear idea of a cognitive map, getting lost is simply a misalignment of your cognitive map with what the world around you is, with your surroundings. It's that feeling of feeling like an area or a space is new, but knowing for a fact that it isn't, and it's generally a bad time. This can result from changes in your environment or changes in your place within the environment, or it can result from insufficiently broad or insufficiently clear cognitive maps because you're unable to respond to those changes in an adequate way. Similar to this image, which is a map of the world. You know, it's upside down. We might be able to tell it's a map of the world, but I'd be really hard pressed to identify any particular country with the map upside down. So let's talk about the first element. The first are paths. This is also the most self-explanatory element. It's a linear space that directs movement and travel, and it also tends to be dominant in cognitive maps. If you did the exercise earlier, one of the first things you might have done was started diagramming all of the paths that you are aware in your neighborhood. And these are things like sidewalks, streets, trails, etc. Travel tends to be concentrated on them, and because of that, we tend to treat them differently. We pave our roads, we cut channels to make sure that water can flow through correctly, that sort of thing. And interestingly enough, paths are the most temporal element. So a path isn't useful to you if you're not, moving along it, and moving along a path is inherently tied to time. And so that process of incrementing your way along a path is what Lynch called scaling. There are a few limitations.
Is that a
though,
Nolly I
when
saw?
we're dealing with paths. We kind of digest them and use them in two ways. One is dead reckoning, and the other is path integration.
Sorry, I was trying to figure out what
They're
to do here.
technically different, but for the sake of this presentation, we can just think about both of these concepts as knowledge that where I am now is where I was previously, plus all of the steps that I took since that last reference point. This relies on continuity, proprioception, or a good understanding of your own body and its movement throughout spaces, calculation, intuition, etc. However, it can be difficult or impossible to properly utilize a map using these techniques without knowledge of those things. And a lot of times in games in particular, I might not be fully aware of the movement mechanics. I might not be fully aware of how the camera or the player or what have you that I'm controlling can experience that space, and so my sense of proprioception there is really limited. So we should keep that in mind when we're using paths. So how can they help us, prevent players from getting lost? Paths are really good at catching lost players. You can think of, being lost in a desert. If you're lost in a desert, you really just need to pick a direction and start walking because you don't know where to go. But once you come across a path or a street, you've automatically eliminated one vector from your field of possibilities. So now you just have to choose, am I going to go left or am I going to go right? So having a path is a really good way to catch players.
I swear I
who
saw
might be
I bought.
deviating
Yeah.
away and starting to get lost.
Thank you for the
Obviously,
link.
paths also do great level design things like establishing player flow and connecting large areas together, etc. Inadequate pathing in your space can make it difficult to connect areas of the cognitive map together, and we have those limitations from dead reckoning and path integration that manifest themselves even more in games. One of the things to look out for as well with paths is that moving one way along a path does not necessarily mean moving the other way. If you've had the experience of going on a hike, reaching the end destination, turning around and going back, and not being fully sure if you're going down the same trail, you've experienced this. So just because you've placed paths inside of your level doesn't automatically mean that players suddenly won't get lost. You need to make sure that you're addressing that concern as well. The next element are landmarks, also super self-explanatory and loved by level designers all over the place. They're single, localized, and memorable features. Paths were these linear elements. Now we've got point references with these landmarks. They tend to be things you want to take pictures of, and they're recognizable either visually, excuse me, narratively, or experientially. It can be this Randy's Donuts shop, or it could be the bench that the character had their first kiss in, for example. Landmarks can be useful in a number of different ways. One of those is orienting players from a distance. A lot of the times, landmarks are tall, and so you can see them from far away, which is great. But they're also useful for orienting players when they're going down new paths and new journeys. So if I'm going to an area that I haven't been to before, but I maintain a reference point in a previous landmark that I've already established, that'll help anchor the new information that I'm receiving in relation to that previous landmark. Also, they
I'm
tend
definitely
to
not
situate
falling asleep in the
elements
chat.
of your spaces among themselves, which is super important. But also to note, landmarks are essentially only useful if they're stationary. So if you've got a large creature, let's say, that is walking around a big map, that creature is no longer that useful as a landmark because it's moving all the time. Also, they're much better when they're directional. So I have this Statue of Liberty here on the Eiffel Tower. The Eiffel Tower is radially symmetric. So if I'm north of the Eiffel Tower looking back, or I'm south of the Eiffel Tower looking back, the Eiffel Tower is basically going to look the same to me. But if I'm north of the Statue of Liberty and I'm south of the Statue of Liberty, the way that the Statue of Liberty is made makes it very easy for me to discern that, hey, I'm in a different
11:28.
spot now.
Yeah.
So whenever you can, if making sure that people can use that landmark to situate themselves around it is important to you, try to make your landmarks directional. Lastly, photogrammetry is the process of taking multiple pictures of an object and then making a 3D model from that. You want to think of your landmarks in a similar way. If a landmark is only referenced one time, it's not really going to be useful for the player to create their own cognitive map. You want to make sure they're able to reference it as many times as possible so that that reference point can be continually reinforced. Next up, we have districts. This is also self-explanatory. A district is a region identified by a characteristic or quality, and we have point references with landmarks, linear references with paths, and now we've got these zonal references with districts. Here are a bunch of examples: industrial zones, downtowns, nature preserves, etc. A good way to identify districts is to do what I call the squint test. So if you look at your map and you squint your eyes and everything gets all blurry, if you can start to distinguish different parts of that map, like this area is a little red, this area is, looking a little different, you can most of the time assume that those are your districts. The districts have edges, and you go through them. So you enter into these new kinds of spaces. They tend to be mid to large scale, and another good way of thinking about districts is a color by number image. So a color by number image is a kind of cohesive and consistent portrait as a whole, but it's comprised of these unique and recognizable colors that work together to make it all work out. Likewise, in our cognitive maps, having clear districts really helps to differentiate areas from each other. An important thing with districts is the concept of clustering. So I have two clusters here. I've got a set of 5 clusters on the left and a set of 5 clusters on the right. And the set of clusters that are on the left are way easier to remember than the ones on the right. And that's because they are grouped with like objects. This type of clustering can be semantic or mechanical, not just visual. So, it doesn't just have to be, 3 pyramids here and 3 box buildings over here. It can be, this is an area that I can jump really high. This is an area where I get in cars and drive around, etc. Isolating these these qualities in different areas like this is just generally good practice for world building and game design. But it really helps reinforce a cognitive map, because I could probably navigate away from this slide, and because they're clustered in such a way, the image on the left might still be something you remember, whereas the image on the right you might forget the moment that I move away from it. Second to last, we have edges. So an edge is a linear reference, but it's not a path. These tend to control continuity, or they
Andromeda.
separate things. Examples are gates, walls, cliffs, borderlines, etc. And they tend to be elevational simply because we tend to move around the world horizontally.
No.
So if we flew around a
No.
lot or climbed a lot of
Stop.
trees,
See,
edges could be
get
barriers
down.
that
No,
are
'cause you're
horizontal.
almost
But
falling. Get
most of the
down.
time, they're vertical things. It's stuff that you tend to go around or go
Yeah,
along,
I'm getting
or
eepy.
things that you go through. For example, being on the outside of a building, opening a door, and entering inside of that building. You want to be deliberate when you're working with paths. You know, crossing that threshold of a path, or
Oh wait,
moving,
I haven't done the.
of an edge. Crossing that threshold of the edge, and
Okay, Loki, I have a homework to
or
do for
being
this.
blocked
So
by the edge are really memorable experiences if that edge is really crisp and clean. I noticed that sometimes we have this tendency to want to blur things. Like we don't want these like hard lines cutting through our landscapes. And this isn't to say that you need to make hard lines, but you should be deliberate in the limits and boundaries of these districts in the form of these edges, because if the edges are blurred, the cognitive map of players is also going to reflect that blurred nature, and it's not going to be as good at anchoring them when they do start getting lost. These occur a lot in games. There's level transitions, level boundaries, mechanical boundaries, portals, ledges, walls, cliffs, etc. So we have plenty of opportunity to liberally use edges, and we want to take full advantage of those. And lastly, we have nodes. So a node is a convergence of paths. It's a point reference, but it's a point reference that is defined by paths.
Actually, this should be a good enough
sketch.
sketch.
Most of the time, these are things like traffic intersections, transit hubs, or home spaces or hub spaces that allow you to access multiple different locations of the game from one spot. If there is a place that has many ins or many outs, that's usually a node. They tend to be denser than the adjacent areas, just because these are places that players and people flock to when they're navigating in general. So they're good to have. Excuse me.
Okay. I will focus on that when I'm better able to focus. Oh, that's actually terrifying. Come on. There you go. Okay. And I hope Mel isn't here, because I'm going to be a... Oh, I hit the wrong thing. Yeah. Alright, I'm ready to be a disappointment to everyone. Oh. Mel, you should look away. Why is that not showing? Oh, I know why. Oh, there. Don't look here. We're just gonna give it whatever labels I want. It doesn't matter. Okay. Oh, I'm dumb. Okay. Do you That makes more sense. It makes more sense, chat. Okay. Put this over here. See. Gonna put a Melzy's on here. Okay. We will. Come here. Hi, Melzy. Oh shit. Okay. I forget the layout I had. There's like a ton of empty space over there. I don't know what to do with it yet, but this is roughly the layout for the homestead. I'm thinking. Sorry, I'm eating sherbet. Meow 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 meow. Meow 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 meow. That's a chunky baby. Holy. Okay. Meh. Okay, so that's a good starting point, I guess. Love placeholders. We don't talk about it. And I have to think I have to look this up. We're just gonna wing this. We're gonna make a ton of placeholders because I have not decided how this is supposed to look and I'm a little confused. I have to low-key play some games. Especially since this is gonna be such a big level, like an actual level. I think I have to flesh this out more. Okay. How, who, huh? What is the confusion, Melzy? What am I up to? I'm trying to block this scene, or not the scene, this level out roughly, but I don't know what I want the level to, how I want the level to look yet. So kind of hard to do that because I already set up. This is what the home base will look like. This is like the block of the home base. Now this is the first area that the player will enter. So this is the first level here. I say level, this is not the first level, this is the first area. So I'm trying to decide how that's gonna look and I don't know yet. It's a big area. I think is I was gonna use trees to create a path. I think is what the sketch was. Yeah, trees were gonna basically make a path. There's gonna be dense foliage. So I think I'll just make walls for now instead of trees. It's very rough, but it's just placeholders, so it's fine. I just realized these are all where they're not supposed to. I'll fix that later. This is painful for all of us involved. Let's not mention it. It's not, but I love the lying. Wait, this doesn't exactly look like this, but it's close enough. Obviously, this is very rough of it, but you get the general gist of it. Maybe this could be like a hidden place in this section. But general gist for a first area. That's probably the last thing I'll add to that. Otherwise, this is roughly... Um... Alright, so this is roughly the layout for the first area. Just imagine these are all trees. And then that's the area. But I do want to add... this. I think we've done a fair bit. This is roughly the layout for the first scene. Or not the first scene, the first whatever it is. I think this is a good point to stop at. I'm not cooking, I've burnt it. But I have food ready, so we'll see. The amount of placeholder trees is hurting me, but I'm ignoring it. I'll fix it. What's the for? Listen, now it looks bad, and that's okay. It's allowed to look bad. We can just never have... You think it's good? Thank you. Now we can just never have your friends perceive it. So, I'm gonna go ahead and end here. I'll see Myrtle. Myrtle is not allowed to see this. Or Coco. Neither of them can see this. That's why. I see mine only has a base plate and 2 assets in front of me. We'll see playing Blender. Still looks better. This looks like such a disaster. But it's fine. When I actually make the assets, it'll be fine. Oh yeah. Yeah. But I'd say for a first time, maybe it's fine. But I have to make sure I push these to GitHub. So I'll do that when I end. Be a good noodle. But I will see you all later. I'm gonna go eat and then rest, and then we'll be back tomorrow morning. Do more. I'll do some actual planning while at work tonight. Yeah. Have good days. Bye bye.